Hello, everyone, and welcome back to what is already our closing session of the first day of Automation Days Asia. Cannot believe that we're almost getting towards the end of our first day after a full day of programs with speakers, sessions, programming workshops, panel discussions, and thought leader in-depth sessions. But as we say, we save the best for last. So it's my great pleasure to introduce for our closing keynote, Gerardus Blokdyk, who is the founder of the Art of Service. Gerardus is a highly accomplished author and recognized authority in the field of business management, information technology, and cybersecurity. With an extensive experience and expertise, Gerard has dedicated his career to providing valuable insights and practical guidance to professionals and organizations worldwide. As an author, Gerard has authored and co-authored numerous books that have become the go-to resources for individuals seeking to enhance their understanding and skills in various domains. His work covers a range of topics, including project management, risk management, IT governance, compliance, and data security. Gerard's writing style is known for its clarity, accessibility, and the ability to distill complex concepts in practical and actionable advice. In addition to his writing career, Gerard is involved in consulting and training. He shares his wealth of knowledge and practical insights through workshops, seminars, and online training programs. Through his work, Gerard has made a significant impact on professionals and organizations worldwide, empowering them to achieve their full potential, improve their processes, and adapt to the ever-changing business landscape. It's my real pleasure to welcome Gerard today, and for his closing keynote, he's going to share from automation dream to reality, navigating the enterprise automation journey with RPA and best practices. Gerard, your first time on Automation Days. I'm super excited to have you with us today as a fellow Dutchman as well. So welcome to our closing session, and the floor is yours.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jan Willem. And we shall not speak Dutch throughout this session, or if maybe people would like to learn some Dutch, we can put that in a side session and take it from there. We only use the nice words. So we teach people the nice words, like how to order coffee and all that. Besides from that, thank you for having me here today. I followed some of the sessions today of the presenters throughout the day. And I was really impressed by the quality of the speakers, the depth of the presentation, and how all the presentations are aligned to each other, and there's a natural flow. So my compliments for putting this together, and I trust that I can get all our attendees to applaud with me on getting your efforts together and making this happen. So thank you for doing this. It's been a great effort, and we're very happy with the results. I see the applause coming in, so excellent. Thank you very much. So about me, what we're doing here today in the final presentation is we're going to have a look at automation dream to reality, navigating the enterprise automation journey with RPA and best practices. Why are we looking at that? A little bit about me. What I do is we help CXOs organizing their strategy, their plans on what they want to be doing, what they want to be organizing, what plans they want to be put together to roll out enterprise automation in their organization. So that's what we do. And how do we do that? We've got tools that help them do that, to figure out what they need to be doing. And the background on how we came to develop all this was basically we ourselves have been CXOs, CIOs in our organizations years ago. And the idea we had there then was that we needed to roll out new enterprise automation projects. My first automation project was actually back in the 80s. That shows my age, not just my gray hair, but also the story. It was in the 80s, and it was in a mainframe organization where we started out with automating mainframe tasks to make sure that our alerting was on time, and when alerting was in place, we could cancel jobs or restart jobs and all that. By the language that I'm using, you might notice it was a mainframe organization, IBM mainframe organization, large bank back in the Netherlands, 80s. And that was my first encounter with automation. And it came with all the bells and whistles of how an automation works and how an automation is implemented in an organization. And the bells and whistles, I mean, what does it do to the staff, to the personnel? What kind of consequences does it have to an organization when you roll out that? Is it the transfer of knowledge of people into the automation tool? And then exactly what do you do with those people after that session has been organized, after you've transferred that knowledge into your organization, into your organizational systems? So automation is a wonderful thing, and automation has been fantastic for all of us in the past couple of years, and it's ramping up quickly and fast. And if I look at myself, my own career over the past 30 odd years, it's all been about automation and automating as much as we can. The boring work, get rid of that, automate that. The repetitive work, get rid of that, automate that. The dangerous work that's fault prone, get rid of that, automate that. Make sure that you can do that right, and you automate the errors out of that. So those are the beauties of automation, and have always been the beauties of automation. But now, when we see an organization like we have today, organizing Automation Day Asia, it means that it's getting more and more in the forefront of organizational leaders, and it needs to be more in the forefront of organizational leaders. The first focus always is usually automation itself. The automation itself is usually the first focus. Like, what can we automate? What can we do with it? And we know that it's important. So we're going to talk today about the importance of enterprise automation, which we know already because we've had many sessions today speaking about how important it is. We're going to talk about assessing your readiness for automation. And we hinted a little bit here and there on how we do that, but that's our main bread and butter. That's the main thing that we do, talking to CIOs, CXOs, CEOs on how to organize their enterprise automation and to make sure that they're ready for that, and they pick the right projects and they embed that well in their organization. How do you craft an automation strategy? How do you actually do that then? What kind of areas are you looking at? And I'll be sharing the tools that we're using for that with you as well, so you'll get access to that, to those tools, to make sure that you can have the same tools to your access as that you can have the same tools to access as the CEO and the CIO. We're looking at maximizing ROI with RPA, so we're checking which boxes do we need to check to make sure we're doing those things there. We're looking at a couple of case studies, but I won't linger too much on that one because we have many case studies already today, and at the end we're going to quickly have a look at the Q&A. Now, so far my introduction. Welcome to the topic, and let's highlight the significance of automation. What you see here is a very nasty picture. It's created with DALL-E. Not that DALL-E is nasty. If you feed it well, you get great stuff, but I deliberately wanted to start out with a very simplistic picture. DALL-E is an automation tool to create images, create pictures, as we all know. So I just fed it with create an image for enterprise automation that I can show on my slideshow today. And it came with this, which should tell you, you need to be way more specific with what you want to achieve in your enterprise automation or in anything that you want to automate. Garbage in, garbage out. If you don't tell it too much, you've probably all been playing around with ChatGPT prompts, and the more specific your prompt is, the better the output is. It's the same with enterprise automation. You got to be very specific on what you want to achieve and check what you have achieved regularly to make sure you're still getting the same outcome. Once you've got that done, you've got that right, then you're ready to roll it out, and you can scale it. Basically, you can make sure that you can scale it like that. So the importance of enterprise automation. Well, we're automating to dominate, and it sounds a bit nasty, but it's not meant like that. It encapsulates the idea that leveraging enterprise automation can lead to significant advantages in terms of productivity, service quality, and resource optimization. So in a business context, dominating refers to outperforming competitors and achieving a leading position in the industry. And a breakdown of those key elements that you need to have in place is like the following. There are 6 key elements that you need to have in place for that you want to achieve for that. You want to boost productivity, for instance, automate to dominate. Enterprise automation, it involves the use of advanced technologies. We've seen a lot of those today, those technologies, to streamline and accelerate business processes. So you're looking at those processes in your organization, and you try to figure out which ones are we able to automate, to put enterprise automation in place. So you want to automate routine and time-consuming tasks. So you want to get rid of those that are fault-tolerant as well, so that employees can focus on more strategic and value-added activities. That boost in productivity allows for the efficient use of resources, and it often leads to faster project completion and quicker response time. So that's what you're after. So when you're looking at automate to dominate, you want to boost productivity. You also want to improve quality of service. Quality of service here. You want to improve quality of service, so automation can enhance the quality of service provided by a business. Why? Because it's less fault tolerant and it's faster, like in customer support, order processing, or other service-related functions. You ensure consistency, you ensure accuracy and timely delivery. You make sure that that's all done, which in turn then contributes to higher customer satisfaction. That's what we're after. And customer satisfaction and customer loyalty translate to revenue. Optimize resource allocation. That's the other one we've got in here with enterprise automation. So, and automation enables businesses to optimize the allocation of resources. That's what you can do there, including human, but also financial and technological resources. So when we talk about enterprise automation, it has a lot to do about the IT environment and how we can automate bits and pieces of the IT environment, which is very important to do, but you can push it higher as well. And you can see that there's a lot of automation being done in human resources as well, like candidate selection, for example, in financial as well, reporting. So there's more that you can do there, automate out. And it all has consequences, and we'll be talking about those consequences later as well. You can streamline workflows, that's what you're after here. You integrate different processes and systems, and you want to create more seamless workflows. Once you start doing that, there's a bit of a danger involved, is that the danger is that you're getting too enthusiastic. If you manage to create one workflow, you think of the other workflow, and you think of how you can combine them to create one larger workflow. So in the end, your staff will get so enthusiastic that will try to combine all the workflows into one major workflow that encompasses all. And there are companies out there, and we've heard that today as well, that have automated every task basically in their organization, and there's just one person running the show, which is the owner, and the rest is all automated, which can be done in a lot of organizations. Enhanced decision making, because you get better data. Data can be leveraged for informed decision making, and you stay competitive basically with enterprise automation. So that's the importance of enterprise automation. The benefits of enterprise automation, well, they're pretty straightforward basically. They are your productivity gains are in place. You get productivity gains. You do cost reduction as an organization, error minimization because of automation. You take out all the errors in the manual processes that you have in place. Enhanced customer satisfaction because the customer gets what's expected. Automation's in place because of that, and you have competitive advantage in place of that. You have competitive advantage because of that. But on a more serious note, automation can help businesses in many ways. So some of the top benefits of automation include, like we just said, it boosts your ROI. It makes your employees happier, which is an interesting statement to make. Makes your employees happier because it will make them happier because they don't have to do the repetitive tasks. But if you think it through, they might worry about job loss. So you really got to take care of that, and we'll make sure that we'll cover that as well, how you take care of that from a CXO kind of level in an organization. You reduce errors and waste. You enhance scalability and flexibility in your organization. So let me throw some percentages at you, some stats, some data. As you know, we deal a lot with CIOs and CXOs, so we do organize. We poll them as well on a lot of data, and we get data back. So some of the data that we got back, let me have a look here. 31% of the businesses that we polled, our clients, have fully automated at least one function. So why am I saying this? Why am I telling you this data? If you think about, I'm really loving Automation Days Asia, and I'm thinking that we really need to be doing something, you're too late. you got to be doing something now, or you'll be way behind. So do something now, or make sure that your organization has been doing something already. 31% of businesses have fully automated at least one function in their organization. Another stat, 80% of businesses that have implemented automation have seen an increase in productivity, which is pretty straightforward, because once you have implemented automation, you can scale it. So you can make sure that you do more with the same resources. 86% of businesses that have implemented automation have seen a reduction in errors. A bit of a Homer Simpson moment there, simply because you take out all the errors that are in there, and automation makes sure that errors aren't repeated if you don't put errors in the automation. That is full disclosure. 75% of businesses that have implemented automation have seen a reduction in time spent on tasks, because it's all automated. You don't have to do it manually anymore. 60% of businesses that have implemented automation have seen a reduction in cost. A significant reduction in cost. Other large figures are, if you look at the global market for robotic process automation, and that's what we're looking at here, so automation task, is expected to reach in total 7.2 billion by year after next, 2025. And that's a massive growth if you relate it to today. Just simply, artificial intelligence, which is a very generic term, the market for artificial intelligence is expected to reach 267 billion by 2027. Those are just mind-blowing major numbers that gives you an idea of the scale and the growth, and how enterprise automation is being accepted right now. So automating business processes involves using technology to streamline and execute repetitive tasks. That's what we're doing here, and those are the automation benefits mainly. The types of automation that you can do in an enterprise and an organization is easy to organize. They're from basic to intelligent, and we've seen lots of those today already. So basic automation is simply fill a form, get data here, and put it in there. That's a foundational level. Enterprise automation at a foundational level it does a basic process to handle repetitive tasks and routine tasks. So like data entry, file organization, or simple calculations, pretty simple stuff. But then when you go up to intelligent automation, you really look at implementing AI as well in your organization, and machine learning and advanced analytics to get that out. So it enables systems to learn. You want to learn from your systems, adapt, and make decisions based on that data that you get and patterns that you see in that data. And there's many organizations out there that do that really well for you, or you can do it yourself simply with using Power BI or tools like that. The ultimate process hug, that's what I've got in here, is the ultimate process hug. So that's what we're after in an organization. And I like coining that term, the ultimate process hug. So the metaphorical process hug, what is it? Well, it signifies the encompassing and supportive nature of automations. You get hugged by the automation that you have in place in your organization. It's like a comforting embrace, basically, that wraps around the entire spectrum of business processes to make sure that they're running really well. So automation doesn't just address specific tasks. It has the potential to transform and optimize entire workflows and operational landscapes. And that's why we call this the ultimate process hug. I myself been brought up, and Jan Willem as well, in process thinking, process environment, which really came up back in the 90s, in the 2000s, back in Europe, in the Netherlands, and spread throughout Asia as well, really successfully at America. That's basically process thinking, process hugs, how things are connected, and what are the activities in those processes that you need to ensure that you're doing well to get to that end result. If you can automate that, that would be fantastic, and that's what we're doing here. We're doing enterprise automation, we're getting the process in place, and then we're automating that process throughout enterprise automation. So you liberate time with that as well, frees up your time, and empowers you to focus on what really matters. Now, what really matters? Focus on that first. What really matters is the client, basically. It's cultivating customer relationships. That's something that matters. Drive innovation or developing strategic initiatives. Now, if I look at types of automation, let's quickly focus on, dive into and focus on to what are companies actually spending on right now when they're doing automation. One of the questions that came about in one of the presentations, which I really liked, was we're really interested in what kind of tools people are actually using for their automation, or what they're using it for. What kind of use cases are they seeing? All right, let's dive back into the stats that our clients actually gave us. What they're using it for. They're using it for enterprise automation or automation in general. So they're using it for AI, artificial intelligence, which is expected to reach, as I said, 267 billion. I'm reading from my notes here. The global market for machine learning is expected to reach 31.4 billion. And we're all talking about next year. They're using it for natural language processing more and more. It's expected to reach 35.1 billion. What we see now is not just natural language processing, but also translation, one-on-one translation, which is fantastic. Really, I really feel like in that regard, you've ended up in an old episode of Star Trek, and it's just all working. It's fantastic. Chatbots, we've spoken a lot of extensively about chatbots, expected to reach, still growing, 9.4 billion by next year. Virtual assistants, that's gonna get a major boost right now, since everything's connected and you can connect your processes in an organization. So virtual assistants are going to be massive. So for instance, virtual assistants, I would want one. I'm going to the Netherlands next week. Can you look up flights and book me a flight? And this is my budget. And this is my preferred airline. And this is my preferred flight times. Take care of that. Comes with options. So I don't have to go searching through Kayak or online sites. It comes up with everything. It's basically what, if you look at ChatGPT does, and the ChatGPT version of Bing, if you go into Bing, does as well. It gives you all the options in the background as well. Virtual assistants, cognitive computing, which is like Siri, for example, Alexa, expected to reach 53 billion. We're doing that a lot. Computer vision, we're doing that a lot. 19 billion. Speech recognition, 31.5 billion. Predictive analytics, which is a fantastic field. I'm really excited about predictive analytics. So if you've got a Palantir, for instance, is massively in that regards, and they're doing great work there. And so if you've got a lot of data, how do you figure out, that's what Palantir does, where the threat is coming from next? And we're using predictive analytics a lot as well in security, organizing security and cybersecurity in organizations. Predictive analytics, where do we see where the threat is coming from, and how can we proactively make sure that we counter that threat? Big data analytics is another one, 103 billion, and it's only growing because data, and there's nothing more than data. If you look simply at IoT and IIoT, industrial automation, massive amounts of data. So we're not just talking about text data, but it's machine data that's being reeled in everywhere, and we're being swamped in it. And it's more and more and more. And so we need big data analytics to take care of analyzing that, basically. So the global markets for cloud computing, that's a fun fact. It's expected to reach 1 trillion. That's a number I can't even pronounce in zeros. Blockchain technology is another one, and 39.7 billion. That's in there because it's related to it. Internet of Things, 1.5 trillion. Those are the numbers. So the numbers are just mind-blowing. It's growing. It's a good field to be in. If you're listening to this presentation, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about your future. Assessing your readiness for automation. So that's the main thing that we actually do as an organization, and I actually do when I talk to CXOs and CIOs. So how do you ready yourself, your organization, and you figure out what you need to, and figure out what you need to automate. So if you're not sure whether you're ready for enterprise automation, take a step back and ask yourself if you're ready to take your business to the next level. But the fine print here is, if you're not ready to automate, you're not ready to compete. It's that simple. If you haven't been automating already, and my guess is you have, otherwise you wouldn't have been here today enjoying these 2 days of wonderful presentations and great keynote speakers. If you haven't been automating already, you're not ready to compete. So, but you got to assess readiness first. You got to figure out what you want to be doing in your organization. So self-reflect on readiness first. Make sure that you figure out what you want to automate. as a business leader, you want to engage in a moment of self-reflection here. So before you dive into the complexities of enterprise automation, which is hard enough as it is, because enterprise automation is not just the one thing. It's several components that you want to combine together. It's a unique recipe for your organization. You got to figure out what you need in your organization, and with that you got to find the right components. So there is no one fits all software solution. It depends on what you want to achieve with the components and the people that you have. So it's essential to take a step back and honestly evaluate your organization's current state, your capabilities, what kind of people do you have in place, and overall readiness for a transformative change. And that's what we do to help people out with, and those are the tools I'll be giving to you as well. So you want to link automation to business growth. We've seen that in other presentations. Make sure that you've got tangible results coming out of your readiness for automation when you start automation. Link it to business growth. Strategic decision making, you want to have that in place. Underscore the strategic nature of the decisions to embrace all enterprise automation. So encourage decision makers to consider automation not as an isolated initiative, which it's sometimes done, but as an integral part of the overall business strategy. Now, I can understand that in a lot of organizations, not just understand, they see that and actually encourage that. You need to start small. You need to start somewhere with a project that actually works, and then you grow it from there. But when you do that, make sure that you keep in mind what the overall business strategy is, what we want to achieve here. Because, mind you, once it's getting to a certain success rate, people will come knocking on your door and will ask you to please explain what are you doing here. And you should be able to explain that it is part of a larger business strategy and is aligned to that business strategy. If not, you're in trouble. Holistic approach, by suggesting to take a step back. You really want a holistic perspective in your organization. You look at the full business strategy here and make sure that you're organized to reflect everything. Readiness assessment tools, there's some of them out there. I'm going to show you and let you in on what we actually have and use. Readiness assessment tool to make sure that you are ready as an organization. You've figured out, are we doing the right things in our organization? Which questions do we need to answer in an organization? We figured out what kind of job roles do we need to have in place? How do we define the activities that we're doing? How is everything connected in our organization? Do we have the right activities in place for the questions that we're asking, like what kind of automation are we doing? But also, how is everything connected, and do we have it actually in our organization? So you want to make sure that you avoid wasted initiatives. So don't start with an initiative that's wasted, because that's not great for people and being enthusiastic about the results and getting them on board and having them grow with you on your enterprise automation project. So avoid wasted initiatives by doing it the right way and get people on board. And assess with the right tools. Do a readiness evaluation. Assess your readiness. So you need to have a comprehensive evaluation of various factors, such as, like I said before, your culture. How does it fit your culture? Do I need to change my culture, or do I need to change my approach to fit my culture? We actually have a client that we're working with today that is the other way around. So it's a culture that can't be changed, but we need to change the approach towards the culture, which makes perfect sense, because you want to get to the results as an organization. Technological maturity, figure out what your technical maturity is. If you've got lots of spaghetti code that you can't figure out anymore, if you've got technical debt, for instance, that you don't know what it's for, but it's still running, and there's someone pushing the on button every morning, it does something. Make sure that you actually know what your configuration looks like, and that takes it all back to service management again from the older days. Configuration management, make sure that you know that what you got and how it's all related. Strategic planning, so make sure that you do strategic planning when you do this. Now, let's have a quick look at the enterprise automation journey assessment tool. So this is the tool that I'll give you access to as well. What you see here is quickly, because I need to be mindful of time. I could talk for hours about this stuff. But you don't want me to, because it's nearly time to go after half an hour. Okay, navigating the enterprise automation journey. What we see here is, these are all the topics that you need to focus on. I can actually, hang on, I can write it. Let's see if I can share another. No, that would be messy. I could share another screen, but then I can get straight into this database. So these are all the subtopics that you need to be taking care of in your organization when you're taking care of enterprise automation. So we've got here business process, business needs, automation platform, digital transformation framework, etc., etc. Make sure that you do all these. This is in this database. There are close to 100 of these separate topics in here. For each of these topics, there are questions that you need to ask your organization to make sure that you're doing that you're doing the right thing. So has your organization conducted business processes, re-engineering, data harmonization based on any international data model? What kind of data models are you using in your organization? Convert your existing per processor licenses to the current licensing model when you do that. So these are tasks that you can be doing there. Responsibilities are in here automatically as well. All the people that are in an organization that need to take care of certain activities in an organization are in there. Automation platform people, system analyst, project manager, system analyst here as well, solution architect, a bit of a description if you don't know what you're looking at, which helps our CXO clients to make sure that they're covering all the right areas. Now, these are all prioritized as well. The questions are all prioritized. So the prioritization means make sure that you're doing these questions from the top down, that you've got an answer to these questions in your organization. And you can score yourself on that. So we've got a scoring system for that. And it gives you a nice dashboard that shows you you're doing great in that area, not fantastic in that area. Focus more on this one, which is really helpful and sets you up for great enterprise automation. So this is basically what a dashboard should look like, or what an assessment should look like and should cover. This is just one page, and there's close to, I believe, 2,000 criteria in here that you need to be covering in an organization. So this is the content that you need to be doing in your organization. And once I've done my presentation, I'll quickly show you the online version so you can have a look at how that actually looks like as well. And I can copy the link so you can have access right away. Crafting an enterprise automation strategy. So that's what you do with an assessment tool like that. Or you start really small. You start with a small problem that you're having in your organization and you just build it from there. But then you need to be aware of the growth and where it's going and what kind of problems you'll be running into later down the track, because it's not aligned with the business strategy, for instance, or there are other heads of business who are not really keen on what you are doing here. So crafting an enterprise automation, it's like building a robot army that works for you 24/7, which is fantastic, without the need for coffee breaks or overtime pay. And this is where we're touching on a very sensitive topic. And the very sensitive topic is what are we to do with the people that are not needed anymore or less needed in the workplace because of automation? And we're not, I think as a society, we're not addressing that topic enough. We're focusing on automation itself, which is fantastic, because we need to do automation. There's no about it. There's no holding back about it. We're not Luddites. Automation is the way to go, because that's the way forward to push and propel us as a civilization forward as well. But while we're doing that, we have a responsibility to the people that work in our organization and for our organization to make sure that they land well in that whole automation strategy as well. How do we do that? Focus on a couple of things. You focus on reskilling and upskilling. That's what you need to take care of in your organization. So you invest, for instance, in comprehensive training programs to reskill your workers in finding new employment opportunities within your organization or outside of your organization. But you got to be mindful of that. Or you promote continuous learning to ensure the workforce remains adaptable to evolving technologies. Don't forget, and we all know that once you start enterprise automation or automation in general, it's not just the one thing that you're automating. There'll be other things that you automate, and the one thing that you automated 2 years ago is now looking like, could be better. Let's do another one over there. So it never ends, basically, your automation strategy. So you need more people skilled in making sure that you do that really well. You can need to take care of job transition support. So implement robust job transition support programs to assist displaced workers in finding new employment opportunities, and offer career counseling, job placement services and resources for updating resumes and interview skills. And that's a responsibility that a lot of larger organizations are really taking on board, and I applaud that. Social safety nets, you need to have those on board. So strengthen social safety nets including unemployment benefits. Make sure that they're in place, retaining assistance to provide a financial cushion during periods of job transition. Lots of large organizations have that in place as well. You look at government policies, which is starting to come into focus as well. Government policies are slowly starting to move that way as well, to develop and implement policies that support a smooth transition into the labor market for people that have been left by the wayside of automation. So they can do, for instance, what I see a lot of governments doing right now is they have tax incentives for organizations to make sure that they invest in employee training and development to make sure that they grow their staff. One point that we see coming up a lot in organizations, but also in governments, and I am a big proponent of that and a fan, is UBI, Universal Basic Income. You really need to explore the concept of UBI as a potential solution to provide a basic level of income to individuals irrespective of employment status, helping to address economic inequality, because there will be economic inequality. There will be people left behind, and we need to take care of those people. And one of those things that a lot of government officials are proponents of and governments are proponents of is a UBI, Universal Basic Income. And I think that's the way we as a society need to be going if we want to propel ourselves forward using automation and make sure that our people are not left behind in the wayside. Other thing you can do is you can encourage automation. You can encourage entrepreneurship. I've been saying automation too much here. You can encourage entrepreneurship in your organization, foster an environment that encourages entrepreneurship to make sure that they start their own business. You have an idea, you grow that idea. It could either be in our organization or outside our organization. Here's a pot of money, or reinvest in that like a VC. Google Labs is an example of that, where that happened. Collaboration between industry and education, you can have that in place. Partnerships between industries and educational institutions to make sure that educational programs align with the skills in the job market. And that's probably something that we've been seeing today as well. You see that a lot of universities are really catching up on automation and making sure that they've got the right programs in place, but automation itself is moving forward in such a fast pace with new initiatives, new software, new developments, that it's just hard to keep up. So you need to make sure that your team members, your staff themselves, are well trained to train themselves continuously and be on the lookout for what's needed in their organization. Flexible working arrangement is something that you need to be looking at as well as an organization to take care of your staff. Part-time work, remote work, flexible hours, work from home, accommodate a changing job landscape, facilitate work-life balance. That's what you need to be taking care of. Ethical AI and responsible automation. We've been focusing on that a lot today as well. Ethical AI, responsible automation. Make sure that your AI makes the right choices, like you would do when you were a human, a good human. Implement guidelines and regulations to ensure the ethical use of AI and automation, while you consider the societal impact and emphasize responsible automation practices. Make sure that the stuff that's in doom and gloom movies of automation and a society that fully enters into robotic does not take place or happens for real. If you look at the tools again, what people are actually using to make sure that we cover all that, it's in here. It's in the tool that you'll be having. All the ethical responsibilities are in here. All the things that people need to be covering to make sure that they're doing the right thing in an organization. They can score themselves here to make sure they're rolling out enterprise automation in the right way. So it's not just the technical aspect of enterprise automation, it's the holistic aspect of enterprise automation. What are you actually putting out there in the world when you put enterprise automation in place in your organization? What roll-on effects does it have on your staff? What roll-on effects does it have on your supply chain? The people that deliver raw materials to you? What flow-on effect does it have to your clients? And we're usually only focusing on our clients. We want happier clients, but make sure that you don't leave the rest by the wayside. You cover the whole holistic area. That's what this does. That's what we do. That's what we want to make sure that actually clients do that organizations take care of that. So the key elements of an enterprise automation strategy, they're like the ingredients of a secret sauce. We've seen a lot of that today. We've seen a lot of components of what works in enterprise automation, and they're different for everybody. There's great tools out there. We've seen, for instance, UiPath, which is fantastic. We've seen other automation tools. Anything that you can use for automation that works for you, have a go. Make sure that it works, but create your own secret sauce. Well, not so secret anymore. Create your own sauce. Make sure that the things are connected to each other. Make sure that they work for your organization. Make sure that they deliver upon the business strategy. So to get your automation strategy together, you do a couple of things. You identify the starting point and the criteria for ongoing priorities. So you figure out what you need to be doing first, and then the criteria for ongoing priorities. What's next, what's next, what's next, and how is it all aligned to each other? And you link your automation with broader business goals. So make sure that everything's aligned. You create value for individuals, not just for the organization. That's the slide before this, where we really emphasized how to deal with individuals, with people in our organization when we're pushing automation through. I still remember when, like I said, my first encounter with automation back in the late 80s. Gosh, it shows my age. Back in the late 80s was really that IBM came in and rolled out a tool that automated most of our jobs, which we actually loved because all the repetitive work was sort of gone. Didn't need to do that anymore. It was all taken care of and in the tool itself. But the problem of that, of course, was that we were out automated as well in the end, and we knew that. We saw that coming. But you got to be mindful of that and aware of that when you do that as an organization. So you got to acknowledge and address concerns about job impacts in your organization when you create value for individuals, not just the organization. You got to have a foundation of measuring results. Make sure that you measure all the results that you've got in there, and that's what you use an assessment tool for as well that I've just shown you. So this is then the assessment tool, and with this you can simply show how your improvements are going and how the improvements are adding up to your business strategy, basically. So a comprehensive roadmap. Don't let your enterprise automation efforts go off-road. Create a comprehensive roadmap to stay on track and drive success. And that's my main theme here in my talk today, is make sure that you have a comprehensive roadmap in place. Roadmap doesn't mean that you stay the course and this is the way we're going. Roadmap means now you can oversee all components. You can say, oh, we need to go that way because that is blocked, or there's an upgrade there that's not working for us. We need to go that way. So you stay on track by knowing the roadmap ahead, what you want to achieve. It's also because tooling is changing continuously. That's why we have an off-road metaphor in here, for instance. You don't want to go off-road and not knowing where you're going, but you want to have a roadmap of figuring out where you need to be going. Have planning and strategy in place. A roadmap without enterprise automation, it's like a car without an engine. It might look good, but it won't get you anywhere. You need to do process selection, basically. So what processes are you going to be focusing on first? Where will you get the most benefits in your organization? Start with something simple, something tangible, something that creates real results. Then figure out what the automation design is for that process. What do you need? What kind of tools do you need? What's the tool selection? Or do you even need to build tools? There's a lot of great work being done with simple stuff like Python developments. If you're familiar with Python and a bit of database access, you can go a long way with putting automation in place in any organization without tooling. Develop the tools yourself. Implementation, when you implement that, make sure that you cover all the basics that we've spoken of before. Test and optimize your roadmap throughout building it, and monitor and maintain that, basically. So make sure that the fundamental plan, the roadmap is in place, and car without an engine, that just doesn't work. So the roadmap is the one that you need to be having, but you need to be flexible with that roadmap as well, and have an outcome-centric perspective. Make sure that you do that. So the benefits of RPA is maximizing ROI with RPA. It's like having a money printing machine to a lot of organizations, which is an ethical dilemma in itself. there's a cautionary undertone here. Of course, RPA can be a money printing machine because you need less staff to do all the dreary work. It's all automated. You can scale faster. You make less errors. You make less mistakes because it's all automated. The scalability ensures that you can grow faster as an organization. You get better results. But the cautionary undertone is that, and that's why it's called a money printing machine. The analogy is vivid and positive, but there's a cautionary undertone. Just as using a money printing machine irresponsibly can have legal and ethical consequences, the implication is that businesses should use RPA responsibly and ethically to maximize benefits without compromising integrity. And that's the hardest part, compromising your integrity as an organization when you see what's possible, but just let's take that shortcut. Nobody will know this. That's totally wrong. Once you feel it's wrong, it is wrong. So stay the ethical course here when you do RPA. It's so easy to scale up an RPA once it's successful and it works and delivers results, and you just scale it up to a money-making machine. But should you be doing that? What kind of impacts does it have? What kind of impact does it have on people? What kind of impact does it have on the integrity of your organization, on the reputation, the brand of your organization? What are the impacts there? How do you make sure that you cover all that? Make sure that you do that. Be transparent there and address concerns when you do that. Start small, involve employees in the process. Make sure that you do that. Get them all on board, communicate the benefits. And of course, the main one, we've spoken of that, and that's what we're going to do after 6 o'clock today. Oh, no, after when the sessions are finished today. Celebrate success. That's what we're doing. RPA benefits, automate your way to success with RPA, the ultimate productivity booster. That's what we're after here. RPA, because who needs coffee to kickstart the day when you can have robots do it for you, lazy genius. So speed and accuracy is important here. Make sure that you do it fast, but you do it right, and you can scale it along the way as well. So it's not just small tasks and repeating those small tasks, but think of the bigger picture. When you're repeating those small tasks, what other larger tasks can you put in place to scale that? What can you scale with that as well? When you touch processes and when you get into the process hug environment, the one process hug environment, it means there's a lot of automation going on that's connected. Cost effectiveness is something that you definitely will get into view here, and your integration capabilities to make sure that everything's connected here. There's a couple of case studies that I put in here, but I won't bother you with those. You can read them yourself. Those are case studies of organizations that have actually had great success with enterprise automation. So these one, for instance, is using Microsoft Power Automate as a tool to process 20 million medical records annually. Microsoft Power Automate, another one here. From a variety of providers, process them into a coherent medical history for each patient. When you do that, you've got lots of laws and regulations. You've got HIPAA that you need to be careful of. You've got data security, data privacy. All those laws need to be in place. So this is an example of where you really need to be ethical and have the right legal solution in place for your organization to make sure that the automation does the right thing. If you have that in place, see the results here. It saved the company over 100,000 hours worth of work each year and allowed them to scale their business without needing to hire new staff when new clients' processes were added. Another one, Komatsu Australia, RPA. They used Power Automate and AI Builder. And they automated their manual and repetitive processes for fixing invoices. Thus, we see a lot of organizations doing that, actually, processing invoices and automating that. Purchasing licenses to an RPA solution in production with a short span of 4 weeks, so really fast. Once it works, and that's what we all know, once it works, you can scale it really quickly, and it becomes huge and fast and big, and the results will become massive really swiftly. There's other case studies that you can easily find online. UiPath, for instance, that's the second one here. It's got several case studies online, and there's lots to find. IBM even has a massive case study set online that you can have a look at for enterprise automation. But basically, what you'll see in those case studies are the same things that we've mentioned in what I mentioned in my presentation. Make sure that you've got that roadmap in place. Right? Get access to that roadmap and do that, and make sure that you have that. Now I'm going to jump out of my presentation quickly, and this is my final slide. Don't take over yet, Jan Willem, because I want to I want to show the database itself, so you can quickly have a look at that one. Let's have a look. How can I share that? Share. Use screen. That's this shared screen. Stop sharing and go share a new screen. Share a new screen. I'm going to share this one. All right, what we are looking at here, let's start with this one first. This is, I'm not sharing the screen. There we are. It's loading. Checking on my secondary. It's thinking. Yeah, there's not much happening, is it? Well, yeah, there we are. There's the database itself. Let's quickly look at the database itself. This is the database that we've just seen with all the activities that are in there. So these are all the activities that are in there, navigating the enterprise automation journey. These are all the questions that you need to be asking in your organization to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So what we're seeing here is that these are the questions, and these are the activities that you need to be having in your organization, or consider having in your organization when you do enterprise automation in your organization. That's why we have, with one question, we have several activities here. They're all organized in a priority. And what clients do, what we do with clients, or what you can do, is simply go through this and click, okay, we've got that. We've got that. Let's see how we rate here, what our score is. We've got that. We've got that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We've got that. And it really helps you with finding out, where are our gaps in our enterprise automation journey, and what do we still need to be doing. One other tool I wanted to show you that we have is simply this, and this is what I'm going to be plugging into the chat session, so you can instantly have a look at. This is a self-assessment, basically, for enterprise automation. And so scale yourself on rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Do we have this in place, basically? Are we doing this in our organization? For business processes, has your organization conducted business process re-engineering, data harmonization based on any international data model? I say, we're looking at that. But I also think that we really need to do more about evaluate business processes in the production automation. So what you do is you go through all of this. This is a large one, but you only really need to be doing the top 25, the first 25 questions, answer those. Answer truthfully, and then submit them. You can answer them all, and then you'll get a much deeper result. You get a much deeper personalized plan, basically. Once you've done that, you click on Poop, review your score, and you'll end up here. You'll end up here in the scoring area of how you're actually going to get there. So you're going to see your own score here, 3.64, the average score. This is just a demo database. We've got 6 participants in here. 3.8 is the average score of all participants. These are the activities that you need to be doing. So these are the main areas that you want to be focusing on when you're doing enterprise automation, and how, on average, everybody scores in this area. Automation integration, automation platform, revolution, trends, business needs, business process, etc. You can read it for yourself. These are the 25 most important areas that you need to be focusing on with enterprise automation. Me, myself, I can simply have a look at my own record, and these are the activities that I basically need to be doing in my organization to make sure that we're doing enterprise automation the right way. I can print this and take it away simply, and that's what you're going to get. 3.64, that's your score. And how can you actually improve your score? That's what it says here. That's what I'm sharing with you today. Have access to this. You also get access to that one to have a look at all the questions and criteria to make sure that you can assess your enterprise automation the right way and be successful with that. And with that, I will stop this screen, and Jan Willem, be my guest. You're the one to take over.
Much, Gerardus, for a very excellent presentation.
Thank you for the applause. I really appreciate it. I had a great time. I had a great time talking about this. I really need to be mindful of the time window here. I could be talking about this for hours, but I don't want to bore you either. And I know it's time to lay it all to rest, because it's been a long day for Jan Willem. He's been up since really early. What time did your alarm clock go, Jan Willem?
Well, I'm in Kuala Lumpur, so I'm. It's just a regular day around here.
All right.
And you definitely don't bore us, because I think it was a very interesting presentation, especially with the practical tools. So if I understood you correctly, you're going to show us some of those templates which we can email around, right?
I'm going to share the link to the form right now. And if people want access to the tool, it's easiest. Just send me an email. It's in the presentation as well, or in here. Chat.
Perfect.
Have we look at the chat?
So I think we have time for 1 or 2 questions that came in along the way. Let me project them on the screen real quick. The first question is from Jamila.
Yep.
In the context of RPA tools, what criteria should organizations use to evaluate and choose the most suitable tool for their specific needs? Are there any common mistakes to avoid during the selection process?
There's one common mistake, and that's you're listening to your vendors too much. That's the main mistake. Your vendors are fantastic people. They really have your best results in mind when they're talking to you. But don't forget, they're only talking from one perspective, which is usually their own perspective, and they try to accommodate that with other organizations and other services. But the main thing is do your own research, and you can do your own research fantastically these days. Gartner has got that G2 site running, which is great in that regard. That's all the tools are in there. You've got a Magic Quadrant. There's other organizations that actually have a look at tools and rate them on how they fit your use case. So all in all, basically what we've seen in my presentation as well, you start out with your use case. So figure out what you want to be automating first, where you get the most benefits, how that is related to your organizational business goals, and you start there. And then you find a tool that works towards that. It's not the other way around. It's not like, let's go with tool X because that's great. No, not necessarily for you. You got to find your recipe. That's the find your recipe. And that's what I'm trying to bring across in this presentation as well. Every recipe is different. And you can have a look at case studies left, right, and center. There's a lot of organizations having massive success with RPA, but it's all specific to their use case, to their organization. Find your use case first and start there.
Thanks, Gerardus. That's an excellent answer. Then let's go for the final question of today.
Already?
I really like this one as well. It says you authored a book titled Robotic Process Automation to Complete Guide. What inspired you to write this book, and what unique approach or perspective does it offer to readers seeking to enhance their knowledge and skills in RPA? So, yeah. Pitch your book.
Pitch my book. First question. There's another question here. Where can your book be found? It's on Amazon. Pretty straightforward. The reason why I put that book together, why I wrote that book, is hidden in one of the things I said throughout my presentation, which is when I became a CIO a long time ago, I didn't have any help around me. There was no real internet access to figure out how we needed to roll out which tools were best for our organization. I got a budget of 30 million euros back then, and make it so, and a staff of, what was it, like 50 people or something. And we made it happen, but there was nothing really out there. There was no handholding, no guide, no really specifics on make sure that you look at this and this and this and this and this. And that has always inspired me. If only I had that, we could have been such a better organization back then, something like that. So that inspired us to really push that into the market, make sure that happened, that those tools become available to organizations that start their journey, that really don't know where to start and how to become successful in their rollout of enterprise automation. So if you look at the book itself is organized in 6 phases of maturity of enterprise automation. So the first phase is basically, do you have the processes, do you have the people in place? And the last phase is how do you iterate that and everything in between. That's what the book basically does by asking you questions that you need to answer, which you can sort of see in the table that I've shown you as well before this. It comes with the toolkit. Toolkit gives you all the stuff that comes with it, presentations and the usual stuff that makes these things happen. So thank you for the question and thank you for the plug.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gerardus. And that brings us towards, I would say, the end of our first day. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. It's been an absolutely pleasure to listen to you and all the good pieces of advice that you've given along the way. So thank you so much for contributing to Automation Days Asia. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been fun. Thank you so much for having me, and good luck on your next day tomorrow. I'll definitely be joining in on some of the presentations because awesome work. You're doing a great job to society. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
So before I let everyone go and enjoy the rest of their evening, just a final reminder that we are giving away a number of books and the online courses. So if you would like to make a chance of that, please fill out the last question poll for today, which I'm going to start right now. And the question here is, what is the projected global automation market size by the year 2025? Is that 150, 200, 265, or $320 billion US? Good. I'm going to give you a few more seconds to make chance for that specific prize. Thank you so much. And let me close the poll. Good. And the poll is closed. And I will also show everyone the right answer. The right answer is actually 265 billion. So most of you did indeed have this correct. Good. That, my friends, brings us to the end of day number 1 of Automation Days Asia, a packed program where we listened to expert speakers, had panel discussions, followed workshops, had technical coding sessions, and many, many more things. From my side, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I would like to thank everyone sincerely for participating throughout the day, for asking so many questions towards our speakers, because that makes it always very engaging, and for spending the time with us to learn something around automation. The good news is that Automation Days isn't over yet. So tomorrow we will have a second day packed with speaking sessions and workshops, as well as another panel discussion. Tomorrow as well, we will be handing out the Automation Awards this year for the 3rd year in a row, and see who are notable thought leaders, projects, and practitioners within the automation community. I look forward to seeing all of you back again tomorrow. Thanks for joining day 1. Get a good rest, and I look forward to seeing all of you again tomorrow morning. Thanks all.